How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Emnix Plays Path of Exile Heist League. Last episode, we did the Crow Lab, and then we did a blueprint. Not in that order. Not in that order, but we did get those done. And then we did the first part of Act 8. Let's see if we can try and complete the rest of Act 8 today. Act 8 should be relatively quick, I think. Right? It's been so long that I can't even remember. And by so long, I mean, yeah, it has been pretty long. Like 2 months, right? 3 months, maybe. When did I last run over here? It's been a while. So, I actually, and like with the new acts, to be honest, and it's been a few years, right? Since these acts have come out, but I'm still not very familiar with the layouts. I mean, in a way, it's a reskin of Act 3, right? But for some reason, I still can't really get my head around the layouts. So I don't know, maybe I will be slower. I hear, people can do this pretty quick. I remember it being pretty quick. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. Ooh. But yeah, like so far, the character is doing pretty well. Oh, get out of that. You don't want to be there. No, no, no. The bears. You gotta watch out for bears. That's lesson number 1. PoE late game lesson number 1. I mean, okay, maybe it's not lesson number 1. If you've been watching this entire time and this is the first thing you learned, then I haven't really been doing my job, have I? The first thing you learn, is don't do what I do, probably. Because if you try to do what I do, you end up with a Hex Blast build that tries to scale poison, which you can't see me right now. I'm shaking my head. I'm shaking my head, but then I'm nodding my head. You can't see that either. Kind of wish I had that webcam now. I actually had one set up. I'm like, dude, I'm in a new house. It's a new environment. New house, new me. We're gonna go webcam. And then my wife was like, hey, you got the webcam, right? I need it for work. And I'm like, okay, never mind. You know what? This would be a bad time for me to show myself on webcam anyways, now that I think about it. COVID has made it so that, wow, kind of ashamed to say this, but I don't care about appearances as much anymore because I don't need to see anybody. As a result, maybe I haven't been taking care of myself as well as I should have. And by that, I mean I haven't cut my hair for a very long time. And at this point, I'm like, dude, my hair is kind of long. I think I'm going to grow a man bun. So at the beginning of COVID, I had my wife cut my hair. And it turned out fine. And, there's nothing wrong with it. But even at that point in time, I was like, man, I don't know how long COVID's gonna go, but if it goes on for really long and I don't cut my hair, like legit, I can grow one of those long man buns. I can look like Rise. I'm gonna be Rise Jr. But Asian. Asian Rise. He's in hard. It's like almost at his level, but not really, right? Like he plays hardcore, we play softcore. Right? It's like, you're kind of there. He's got long hair. Hey, me too. He's got a beard. I don't. I can't grow a beard. I got the Asian face. It just gets splotchy and shit. It doesn't really work. Does he have a beard? He has a mustache. What does Rise look like? Honestly, Rise QTPOE. I haven't watched this stream. Yeah, he's got a bit of a beard. He looks like he maintains it. Right? I don't have that. I can't grow that. He doesn't have like those giant, bushy beards that just straight up just takes on soup, like you're drinking soup and then it just gets caught in it. Like he doesn't have one of those. I know somebody with that. Every time he takes a sip of soup, it gets stuck in his little mustache and in his beard. I'm like, hey buddy, you got a little bit of something over there. And he's like, oh yeah, thanks bud. Right? He doesn't have that. You know, his is nicely groomed. But I can't grow that. Even so, I cannot grow something like that. Mine just comes out all splotchy. Like one part is all black, the other part is just skin. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. But yeah, like I said, you know, maybe it's a good time for me to not use a webcam, even though I thought about it. Cause what was that? It was a contract, a rare contract. Okay. But yeah, so right now I've been kind of growing out the hair, right? I'm like, hey man, it sounds like this COVID thing. I mean, if I don't know about all of your countries, but in Canada here, or in Toronto at least, you know, we've got a bit of a second phase, a second wave of COVID. And it sucks because the second wave is also pretty bad. It's also pretty bad, and people are kind of just tired of being indoors, which I think is so whatever. I don't want to get too deep into the minutia of it, but you know, like everybody, they're like, oh, we've been indoors for so long already. I can't take it anymore. I'm going out because you know what? We gotta live our lives. And it's like, dude, the act of living your life is potentially causing somebody else to lose their lives. Anybody think of that yet? And in part, it's like, you know, there's some politics in there too. You know, if you really wanted to stop people from going out, maybe you should close, you know, keep some of the businesses and stuff closed, like how we had at the beginning of COVID. What's happening now is the second phase. I feel like it's worse than the first phase of COVID because the amount of, oh my god, that was a lot of damage. Okay. Danger, high voltage right here. But yeah, like I was saying about COVID, it's like we have almost the same number of people getting COVID every day on average, but we don't have as many of the safeguards that we had at the beginning, right? Like before, a lot of businesses were closed, you know, malls were closed, like all kinds of stuff, like kids weren't going to school. But now it's like everything's open, right? It's not as bad as the States, and you have just as many people with COVID cases. You know, people are having weddings and stuff, and it's crazy here. So I don't know, like, what was the point of all that effort back in March, right? Like we were like, I understand you kind of need to get the economy started. Like, I don't know, too many people's livelihoods have been affected by it. I do understand that aspect, but I'm like, it's scary because, you know, as with anything, if you give something enough time, it kind of blows over. And I feel like that's the same with COVID. Like, me as a person, okay, I am cognizant of the fact that I'm not reacting as quickly to COVID as I did back in March and April. And what I mean by that is, you know, when I was back in March, when we first had all the quarantines and lockdowns and whatnot, you know, I was very diligent about washing my hands all the time. I was very careful about not going outside and not seeing anybody. The only time I went outside really is to maybe take a walk and go to the grocery store. And for the most part, it's still like that. But there are days where I'm like, hey, you know, we should invite this and this person over to have dinner. And I catch myself going, wait a second. Maybe that's not the best idea. Right? Or, you know, I was invited to a barbecue the other day and I was like, yeah, heck yeah, I'll go. And even for me, it's like sometimes I catch myself being like, wait a second, you know, 5 months ago, I would not have done that. Or maybe even more than 6. Wow, time just flew by. March is 7 months ago. 7 months ago, I would not have done that. Right? So even I'm cognizant of the fact that over time, you know, time heals everything. And with COVID, it's the same thing. It just doesn't feel as alarming as it did. But I also recognize it's like, given the numbers that we have, what makes, you know, this second wave any different from the first wave? The only difference really is one, people are more aware. Right? People are more aware. So you got more people wearing masks. You got more people who are washing their hands and stuff. But then, you know, like when we first locked down, there were all these things that were closed. Now they're back open. So people are going to restaurants, or going out to patios. Our gyms are open. People are going to gyms. And yeah, they're like, you know, taking more care to like clean and everything. But clearly it's not working that well, because they're so, like, all of a sudden, once everything opened back up, the cases jumped up. Right? So I don't know. This is basically first wave on crack, because, or, you know, with everything open. And that in itself, I was just thinking this morning, I'm like, man, that's really scary. Like, I really wonder what's going to happen, right? And I hope nothing bad happens. I hope our numbers don't like increase at an exponential rate. I feel like the numbers are going to keep going up, and I don't know what it's like in other countries. But in Canada here, we are experiencing our second wave. How did I get onto this topic? I was talking about my hair. Anyways, that's the little tangent I had. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I'm a bit of a homebody, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Right? Like, you got all these people during the COVID lockdowns who were like, oh my God, I've been trapped in my home for the last, I don't know, 4 hours, 4 months. I can't take it anymore. Right? And then you got people asking me, they're like, so how are you taking all this this COVID, you know, stay at home stuff? And I'm like, it's not so different from my regular day to day. And you think about that fact, and you're like, oh man, like gamers in general, you know, or the average gamer, they stay home, they play like 5-6 hours a day. They never went out much in the first place, right? And let's see, what do I want here? Increase effect of non-curse auras from your skills. Increase effect of your curses? Sure. Ooh, this is a pretty good wand. And yeah, I guess, I don't know, like, it's weird. It's just weird. Where is my Hex Blast? Okay, I can totally do this. I would actually get a lot of damage if I did this, but then I would lose my shield. Do I care if I lose my shield? Maybe a little, but not that much. Maybe I don't care. We can do this. Yeah, maybe I don't care if I lose my shield. I lose a bit of defense, admittedly. Which sucks. How much defense do I lose? I lose 22% block. That's all the defense I lose. I lose some resistance.
Good luck to you.
Okay, this is fine. Enemies you curse take 5% increased damage. And if whoever I curse gets blinded, or increased damage. Let's go with that. And then we'll take that, and then we'll take the small jewel socket. No, we don't need more sockets. I don't have that many good jewels, I think. I think after this we start picking life again. Because, I mean, this probably is not enough life to really go into the late game. Definitely not. Okay, I mean those were all the anecdotes I had with regards to COVID. It's not even anecdotes, right? It's somewhat more like opinion pieces, really. But yeah, that's where I'm at
When I'm ready.
in that regards. Where do I go? It's probably this way, right? Now, where am I with this character? I haven't done any more research. The only time when I start doing research is when I start struggling, right? Typically, that's how I play. Otherwise, I just play through everything. And so far, I haven't struggled that hard. I've had my fair share of tribulations with this character so far. And to be honest, that in itself is not a good sign, but it's not enough. It has not been enough for me to go, oh wow, it's over. Or to be like, okay, I need to really, really think about how to fix this character. It hasn't been like that, but I can see over time, you know, this character, or I can already see the signs of this character maybe not doing that well in the late game. Survivability is one of those, you know, it just doesn't feel very tanky. And part of the reason is just I don't have good defensive layers just yet. I'm probably not using my skills properly either. I feel like this build is quite involved in that regards. You know, there's a lot of buttons to press. And they're not necessarily easily triggered. One thing I can do is I can definitely put the black hole, the void sphere, on cast when damage taken. That's an option. But I kind of like having my arcane cloak on manual cast. And that way I can cast it and then I get arcane surge as well. Only problem is I have to mash it like a flask. So I still can't remember to do it, but I also kind of am cognizant of the fact that it's better if I do it manually. You know, you probably get more damage overall and more survivability just because you trigger arcane surge, like a high level arcane surge. And you also get to trigger a high level arcane cloak in general, just because of the fact that, you know, with cast when damage taken, you typically want to cast it at a low level so that you don't take that much damage and you cast it. And what ends up happening is you have a low level arcane surge or arcane cloak, right? Which isn't necessarily bad, especially since you get probably much higher uptime with it, but if we were to like just talk about getting the most out of your skills, you know, we save a gem socket by not socketing in cast when damage taken, and if I remember to use it every time, I get like a much more effective arcane cloak. The only reason why, you know, I wouldn't necessarily get the most effect out of it is just purely out of laziness, right?
When I'm ready and not before.
So, in a way, not using cast when damage taken could potentially make me a better player. At least for this character. It could make this character better. But it also could destroy my wrist. So, you know, two sides of a coin, right? Although, to be honest, I've never had any wrist issues, really. Like on my left hand. You know, I know a lot of people on Reddit talk about, oh, like and I'm not judging them for it. I don't think these are lies, but they're like, oh, I'm developing a bit of carpal tunnel from using flasks all the time. And I'm like, dude, I've never had that problem. And I'm not saying I've never had that problem, so you shouldn't have that problem either. That's not what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is I don't use flasks. I think that's the thing. And I'm like, you know, my wrist, it has some there's some wiggle room there, you know. It's okay if maybe I cast arcane cloak every few seconds. Only if I'm up for it, right? Only reason I wouldn't do it is, again, out of laziness. Like, oh man, I gotta press it every few seconds. Sounds like a pain in the butt. Wow, this is actually a pretty decent shield. Chance to block spell damage. Life. Resistances. You know, like this is actually pretty good. It's just that we get more damage this way, I guess. So until I get super annoyed Or until it gets me like really just gets me killed all the time because I can't, you know, maybe I can't keep up my arcane cloak and it's basically just a useless skill on my slot. Until that happens, and I don't see why it would be a useless skill in my slot because I feel like it's pretty easy to cast. Or until I get carpal tunneled from doing this. I'm just gonna keep manually casting it. And you know what? I'm already manually casting my curses, which are literally QWE. So right now I'm already pressing WE just to fight. Why can't I press QWE? You know? Why can't I do that? I'll press Q and W at the same time. That's easy. In fact, I don't know why I didn't think about that before. So yeah, let's do that. It's just a little bit more involved, which, you know, in a game of Path of Exile, where a lot of times you're maybe just pressing a couple keys, maybe being able to press a few more buttons is not necessarily a bad thing, you know? It'll feel like I'm actually doing stuff in this game. Although, I don't know. Like a lot of games you want to press a lot of buttons because that's where you get your feedback, right? Like you're pressing all these buttons, you're dodging shit all over the place, and you're like, wow, I'm so good at this game. But in PoE, it's not about, I mean it is, there is a skill aspect to it. But I feel like a lot of the skill, maybe that's not the case anymore, but a lot of the skill isn't just being able to build a good character. Because I feel like for a lot of players, just being able to build a good character and get it to a point where it can do like high level maps and bosses, like that in itself is a skill. And the satisfying part is like creating cool builds, you know, that can beat the game, that, you know, maybe other people haven't tried before, although that's a lot harder these days. On the other side of the coin though, you could just follow a build guide and bada bing bada boom, you've got yourself a good build. You didn't actually need to do anything, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, you know? And is that a sign of skill? In a way, still, yeah, because you got to get to a point where you can farm those items and you still see that progression. You get that satisfaction of going, I did this. So maybe it's still fine. Maybe using the word skill is the wrong word, but it's like, you know, deriving satisfaction out of using your skills, like using all the skills available to you and like having 200 APM while playing PoE, or just deriving satisfaction out of knowing, hey, like I started from 0 and now look where my character is at now. You know, they're both satisfying ways to play the game. Anyway, so I suppose what I'm saying is, first of all, because I went on a weird tangent just now with actually no moral of the story now I think about it, but first of all, there's more than one way to play this game. You know, you could blow through the game. You could just play until level 80 and build a character and be satisfied. But also maybe it's a good thing to have like, because a lot of people, the way to describe PoE is like you just click one button and you kill stuff and that's it. And there are a lot of cases where if you wanted to be more efficient, especially, or like get the most damage out of, you know, out of your build, you would have to do it manually, and you would have to click more than 1 or 2 skills. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, maybe being able to press more skills, okay, now we're going full circle, could be a good thing because now you have a little bit more to do.
What's going on?
Although with this build, I already feel like I got a lot to do. Okay. What is this? There's no life on it, so immediately I'm just gonna go goodbye. Ooh, Chaos Large Cluster Jewel. Ah, but 12 passive skills. And there are no notables on it. Well, goodbye.
Don't do
Oh, I had left some items. What do I want to do with these?
How you doing?
Okay, the belt, more life, less resistances. Okay. The ring, garbage. This ring, also garbage. Okay. So what happens to my resistances when I do this? I mean, I would have less. A lot less. Oh my goodness. Okay, so unfortunately, I cannot use this. I'm just gonna have to sell it.
Bring me back something nice, huh?
It's a pretty nice... It was a pretty nice belt, though. If I had the right resistances for it. Okay. So we only have one more quest over here. Which is to do this part. I wouldn't say we're blasting through the story. But I'm kind of on autopilot mode, to be honest. When I play PoE these days, a lot of times, especially when you're just leveling through acts, especially when I'm talking to you guys like this, I'm not actually looking at the game much. You know? I'm just talking. My cranium, like my brain, its focus is mostly around my lips, you know, around the little speech box of mine. I'm not really thinking about the game, you know. I mean, I'm pressing the buttons, but a lot of this stuff is muscle memory. If you were to ask me what I did in PoE in the last 20 minutes, if it wasn't for the fact that there's linear progression in this game, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Literally on autopilot, and in a way, I suppose. Okay, now we're going back to our old conversation. That in itself is skill, right? Because a lot of people are thinking about, oh, where do I go? What item do I need? Right? What buttons do I press? What skills do I use? Oh my god, flash! There's so much in this game. Oh, it's overwhelming. Meanwhile, I'm like, so yeah, like, you know, the real skill in this game is in just copying a skill tree, and that's it. You know, you don't need to think about much else. There's no skill to actually playing this game, and the more I think about that, the more I'm like, no, that's a super wrong way to phrase it, because that's just purely just wrong. Anyways, I am actively, okay, to be fair, I am actively trying to use my arcane cloak, because my ring finger is not used to hitting that button, and I'm making all kinds of weird mistakes. I'm like double cursing with the same curse because I'm trying to fit arcane cloak into my skill rotation, which it doesn't need to fit in there because arcane cloak is an instant skill, so why do I care, right? I can just press it whenever the heck I want. There's no cast time, it's instant. Oh. So just whenever I feel like it, just press Q. I don't know, it feels weird to press buttons with my ring finger. My left ring finger. I don't know why. It's not like it's a dead finger that just sits there doing nothing. It's not for decorative purposes. But yeah, it feels weird. It feels weird. Why does it feel weird? It's like I'm so used to... No, when I press my flash button, when I press 1, I use my ring finger. Okay, who's the immortal one? There we go. You know what I noticed, actually? Now that I'm actually focusing a little bit more on the game. The skill, the build, or the skill, I don't know which one. Both. The build and the skill. It hasn't sucked yet. or like it hasn't killed our character. I know online a lot of people were like, dude, the Hex Blast just, it's not viable unless you go Ignite. I don't know, maybe are we in Ignite mode? It doesn't feel like it. We're not igniting.
When I'm ready and not before.
But yeah, like we're doing okay. You know, stuff is dying and we're not. And that's basically my gauge of are we doing okay? Right? Are they dying? Yes. Am I dying? No. Well, good. Whereas a lot of other people, their gauge would be like, are they dying fast? What's my deaths? 10 times. And not the greatest. Okay, I'll be the first one to admit it. But not the worst. 10 times. Okay, in 8 acts. Not too bad. Given heists were so rippy early on. Or even now, even still. Heists are, they're quite rippy. Alright, so here's the strat, okay? Here's the Emnix strat. You curse them. You run in circles, you hit him twice. Did he get poisoned? That's the next question. Well, he's dead, so I guess it doesn't matter, but you know, the follow-up is like he gets poisoned and that kills him, but it doesn't seem like the poison's doing much damage. Even though it's kind of funny, all of the support gems basically are for poison.
How you doing?
Imagine if we built for like on-hit effects. Or just on-hit. Maybe we'd be doing a lot more damage and this build would be a lot more successful. I don't know. A lot more successful than it already is. Not to say it's not currently, you know, doing well. It's doing fine. Okay, we're gonna save all these unique rings. Why? Because at the end of the league, I would like to have a lore weave. I've never gotten a lore weave. I've never saved that many unique rings before. Okay, we're starting to have a lot of just junk in the trunk, you know, in our inventory. Because I refuse to do, I guess, contracts. I refuse to deposit contracts. It's not that I refuse to do contracts. I'm very happy to do contracts. In fact. You know, I look forward to contracts. They are my pride and joy. That's not true. What is my pride and joy? What am I very proud of? I'm proud of my new hardwood floors. I am. I feel like I did a pretty good job on them. You guys wouldn't be able to see, but in a way, you know, I worked hard on them, and I'm very proud of them. I look at them every day, and I go, you know what? I did a good job. Good job, Emnix. You did good. No, Emnix, you did well. Superman does good. No, I did good. Good for the house, that is. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's not forget the Ankh of Eternity, because I keep forgetting, and I always have to backtrack. I'm like, oh man, I forgot about this quest. Not today. All right. What's the level of this zone? 57? What am I? 65. Wow, I'm quite over leveled. Wow, we wrecked the essence. I really did not expect that. I was like, man, our damage looks good. Once we fight a yellow or once we fight a boss. And when we fight a boss, we do struggle, right? Our damage is not good enough to kill a boss. But kill a boss quickly. I can kill a boss. I need to correct myself there. But I mean, it's still looking pretty good, right? We're gonna take Evil Eye now. Hey Emnix, is there actually a plan with this build? Are you going somewhere with it? Nope. These days, the way I build characters is like I just get the bare minimum on the tree to survive, and then when I have like 20 or 30 points left, I just stick them all into cluster jewels because cluster jewels are awesome, and why not? That's basically the build. Every build has cluster jewels. Because why pick up damage nodes on the tree when you can just get it from cluster jewels? It's probably just as possibly even more efficient than your tree. Possibly. Depending on how you path. I mean, those notables are very strong, right? Admittedly, all cluster, like all passive tree notables are strong. You know, you pick up a notable on the tree without using a cluster jewel, it's still good. It doesn't mean notables on the tree suck. But I'm infatuated with cluster jewels. I think they're just so cool. Too bad they're just so hard to roll. So expensive too. Alright. Is he summoning minions? Because I would like to see... Yeah, he is summoning zombies. Okay. I want to see if we can suck up some zombies. Okay, go summon some more. Come on. Alright. We curse them. We suck them in. That's a lot of damage! That was a lot of damage! Maybe this is one of those builds where you can take advantage of something like Vol Breach, suck up all the minions, and then Impending Doom them. You know? That's what I'm thinking right now. Because this feels more like a clear build than a bossing build, right? Because the single target just... it's not very good. But if you're able to group them all together, then you can get a lot of damage. Because, you know, the AoE kind of shotguns, right? Or they overlap. The AoEs overlap is what I mean to say. I don't know. But maybe it's just, you know, Impending Doom damage has not fallen off a cliff just yet. Because, I mean, rares are dying in like 2 to 3 shots, right? Okay. I think it's actually time to start thinking about my third curse. It's probably going to be Frostbite. And then I should also think about Elemental Equilibrium. Maybe not yet. Maybe not yet. Elemental Equilibrium is still... it's still far away, I think. Because I can't reliably apply Elemental Equilibrium just yet. Ooh. Okay, again, like I said, I'm on autopilot. This area, there's actually a route. Like, there's a way to get to the end easily, but you just gotta follow the black guards at the door, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was just killing stuff. A lot of times I find that's how I play. Like, if I'm playing off stream, that's how I'm playing PoE, sort of just like in a trance, in silence. Not that I talk to myself on the regular, you know? Like, if I'm not recording, I'm not going, hey, how's it going, everyone? It's Emnix. Welcome back to Emnix Plays Path of Exile. I'm not doing that. But at the same time, I'm just like, I'm not thinking much, you know, when I'm playing. Oh, we got another blueprint. Nice. I'm not thinking much when I'm playing on my own. I'm just kind of like going through the motions. And in a way, it's like, you know how when you do yoga or when you're practicing mindfulness and all that stuff, you're basically just trying to, like, just be aware. Well, how does mindfulness work? It's like notice your breathing, right? And basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to take yourself out of your body, out of like all of your thoughts. You know, say you had a stressful day, you can't stop thinking about work, or you know, you got a bad mark on your test at school, and like for the whole day you just can't stop thinking about it. Oh my god, if only I had studied a bit more. Oh my god, if only I had you know, oh my god, I won't be able to go to university, I'm gonna fail out. Oh, what are we gonna do? You know, like the whole practice of mindfulness is to like take yourself out of that and just be aware you're feeling that way, but at the same time not let it affect you on an emotional and mental level, right? I feel like playing PoE is like it takes me out of like any stressful thoughts that I had. I just kind of enter like nirvana right here when I'm playing PoE. You just get into a state of like, you know, you're aware, but at the same time you're just going through the motions, you're playing, you're not thinking about all the stress, right? Is this how people get addicted? Is this why people drink like, you know, like alcohol and stuff like that? It's like to escape. Anyways, it's my way of unwinding. I guess it's the best way to explain it. Not to say I'm addicted, but also I'm addicted. You know, PoE is definitely one of those things. It's become a bit of a habit, even though it's also somewhat easy to drop, right? Like, clearly, I'm not, you know, it's not like you're doing hardcore drugs and it's like, I gotta play. There have been cases where like that league starts were bad, typically. You know, Harvest, I played a lot. But for some reason, well, because I got a house, so I've been busy with other stuff. But this league, you know, I didn't get that. This league, I'm like, well, I got other shit to do, but... Oh yeah, PoE, I want to play some PoE. Let's go play some PoE. You know, it's kind of like that, this league. Priorities changed a little this league. Which, I don't know, it's a good thing, I suppose, because... You find yourself playing video games all day, and that's not necessarily the best way to spend your time either, right? Gotta find some balance. Everything, it's all about balance. Balance in all things. Thanos was right after all. Okay. Okay, things are going very well. I could take that cluster jewel, but or that jewel socket, but I'm not going to because I don't have a good jewel to, you know, use it on. And now I really have to think, where am I putting the rest of my points? You know, I have a jewel socket available there that really I don't need right now. Where do we invest the rest of our points? There are many options. Really, there are three options. One, which is not a bad option, is you put it in life, which is probably the reasonable option. Okay, that's one option. Two is you put it into mana. So these are all defensive options, right? So you put some more points into mana. So stuff like what's nearby? What's a decent mana node? You can put it in here, I suppose. You can put it into here, actually. These are pretty good mana nodes. So reduced mana cost of skills. Increase maximum mana. That's not bad. Right, we could also put it into over here. 8% mana and then 20% mana. Pretty good. We also have that. I think that's most of the big mana nodes. Other options could be we put it into crit or chaos damage, but again, like this is basically a large cluster jewel, right? Basically. The other option is you put it into crit. Right? So you get critical strike chance for spells. And then you start picking up critical multiplier, but that might be too expensive. Especially this early on. Other option is you start picking up these elemental damage nodes and then you get another large jewel socket for another jewel. A jewel I don't have. So damage, okay, so I'm starting to just reason it out for myself. Damage is not really what we need right now. We want more survivability. Because the chances of getting one shot is starting to get a little high. You know where we're gonna put it? We're gonna put it here, and then the next one goes here, and then we're gonna refund these spell damage nodes. Save us a couple points. That's what I'm gonna do.
Watch yourself.
Okay, right there. That's already... Okay. Now I save these points. I lose spell damage, but I don't think that's too big of a deal. Now I have more points to spend. Now I have 4 points. Okay, so we started there. Now where am I going with this? What am I trying to do? It's not this mana stuff. I could go... You know what? Why go mana when you can just go life? You know? Cash is king. And in this case, life is cash. Cash money. Apply. 2500 HP. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pick up all the life nodes for now. And then in the future, right? Like right now, my cluster jewel is just a medium cluster jewel. If I had a large cluster jewel with like notables that I actually liked and that I wanted, I'd be more inclined to spend my points in that. But because I don't have that, I guess all the points goes into life. And then our cluster jewels is all the damage. So really on the tree, I'm picking up life, I'm picking up mana until I can get some decent cluster jewels. And then when that point comes, all of our points, you know, our passive points are going there. That's the plan. All right. I just need to remember that. Sometimes I tell myself the plan and I forget what the entire plan is. So that's not good. Okay, so I need to remember damage has not changed, but you know, last episode I did my ascendancy and the ascendancy itself was a huge damage boost, so... Okay, here's another thing I need to do now. Actually. I need... I think it's time to get that... the next curse. So... we're gonna link this. I don't really need malevolence right now. What I want is frostbite. No, this is the wrong act. Yeah, let's go pick up frostbite.
Yes.
Frostbite. Spell cascade. Do I have a spell cascade just lying around? So frostbite, vitality is fine. Spell cascade, impending doom. Lily, my girl, spell cascade. Impending doom. Impending doom, spell cascade. Did I put faster casting on these? No. Okay. And I just have a random vitality just sitting there. That's fine. I have the super low level cast on damage taken over here, which I don't think I want. Instead, I want... oh, I have a high level impending doom. Perfect. Let's put that there. And then we're gonna put the high level cast on damage taken there. And I don't need this anymore. So the high level cast when damage taken is for the void sphere. It's not high enough level just yet. Uh-oh. What's going on? Don't have enough strength because I leveled decoy totem. Okay, that was a bit of a bad idea. I understand now. Let's not do that. Let's de-level it. Okay. There we go. Okay, I think we're all good to go there. So then we want frostbite here. Okay. Flammability can go. We're gonna put away the cards. Put away the gems. Got some fragments here. These are blueprints and contracts. Alright, let's give this a try. So now we're running triple curses. More buttons to press. Is this a sound idea? I don't know, you tell me. Running more curses might not... like, I don't need it. This is where you probably want like Vixen's entrapment or something, right? Like it would help a lot. I mean, so far we're doing fine though.
And not before.
You just press all the buttons. I don't even know what button I'm pressing. You press all the buttons and then your trigger button is the right click button. That's how we're playing it so right now. You press any curse. It doesn't matter what curse. Pick a curse. Okay? You only need 1 or 2 curses to kill them anyways. You pick a curse and you trigger it with Hex Blast. Pick a curse. Any curse. Is this your curse? Oh, what is this? He's getting ghosted big time. No. Oh, yeah, yeah. The ghost's going in. Oh my god, he hits hard. He's starting to hit hard. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was messing around with you. I'm sorry. I will stop. I'll kill you now. Okay, let's pick up all the wands because those are probably the things that would help me immediately. Well, that's a lot of mana. You know? But I mean, in this case, we're not Archmage, so the mana would only give us defense, not really damage. So I suppose it doesn't really help that much. Yeah, we're just gonna skip this stuff. Unless I want to sell it. I mean, why not, I suppose. It's currency. But Emnix, you could just, you know, progress and then you would get more currency. I hate it when people say that because they're not wrong, but I don't want to.
Welcome.
Just let me sell my stuff like a peasant. I made this choice for myself.
Hello.
I want this. I wanted this.
Fate.
Okay, I should really think about doing these contracts, or at least depositing them. But there's no stash, right? I would have to go into that zone. Sorry, punch my microphone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I would have to go into the zone, but I'm too cheap to go into the zone because I would have to waste a rogue marker. Okay. So we're just gonna keep contracts in the stash. You know what? We should just stop picking up items. Like, really, we should stop. At least the big bulky ones. What the heck? Where am I?
When I'm ready and not before.
Solaris Concourse. That is the wrong way. So we want to go up. I think. Got the waypoint. Okay, I need to remember that when I am fighting bosses, I can apply 3 curses now instead of 2. That's actually a very big deal, right? In a way that triples my damage. In a way. I don't know. I can't tell if I'm doing good damage or not. I think we're gonna need to fight a boss and see. Mere clear is fine. Like, Impending Doom is actually carrying us. Yeah. Yeah, it's Impending Doom. I mean, Hexblast is doing a number on them as well, but... like, Hexblast is not clearing these guys. This way. Hold on. How does Malevolence work again? Is it when they're cursed or when I kill someone? When you kill an enemy, for each curse on the enemy... okay. So like say... Hex Blast. I trigger... oh yeah, okay.
When I'm ready and not before.
Alright, time to see how good our damage is. We'll drop a TP here. I would like to think it's a lot. I could be very wrong.
I need more mana.
How do I run out of mana? Alright, let's give that another try. So you do this, 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 suck them in. I mean, it's not bad. It's not great. Okay. Okay. We'll keep going. I mean, it's been an hour. It's been quite a bit of time.
There you going.
But we are almost done the act. So that's good.
Bring me back something nice, huh?
So we are averaging a little over an hour an act. Actually, we're averaging way more than that. What's my played? Yeah. More like 3 hours an act. I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. Because I was doing a lot of heists. Yeah, I'm like, dude, I did not play for just 8 hours, not even 10 hours. I've been playing for over 24 hours, okay? Admittedly, a lot of it has been AFK because I would play like for 20 minutes and then I would just like go somewhere else, you know? Which is also part of the reason why it's so hard to stream, and I've mentioned this before. It's just hard to get that, you know, find the you know, 120 minutes or 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever to just sit down and get down in one sitting and just play, right? Although I guess in this case I've been able to, well, I did a 1 hour sitting, and then earlier this episode I did another 30-minute. It's easier to split your sessions into smaller chunks, you know? Also gives me a bit of a break with all this talking. My throat is actually a little dry right now. Can you tell? It's starting to crack a little bit. I can feel it. After this act, this might be it. For tonight, at least. It's already 11 o'clock. Kind of tired. But let's keep up the energy until we actually finish the boss. Okay, so I picked up all the worthwhile life nodes. What do I do now? Hmm. Good question. What do I do now? Well, I think we just keep picking up life. Even the ones that aren't that great. Until I can find a decent, large cluster jewel. I always thought this fight looked super cool. Right? It's definitely one of the cooler fights. The Act 8 boss fight is one of my favorite ones, really. What if I get into the middle? Get in between you two. Oh my god! Okay, so that's what happens. Wow, they hurt. Do I just let them kill each other? Do they heal? Alright, who do we want to fight? Both of you. Is he getting poisoned? That's my question. Well, the bosses are taking damage, but they're basically getting they're getting tickled. You know, they're not getting chunked or anything like that. But also I noticed that they're not even getting poisoned at all. Which is kind of weird, right? Because 10%, 25% plus... We have 85% chance of poison, and yet it doesn't look like they're getting any poison stacks on them. Is it just not that good? Oh, I don't know. Let's take Solaris. I mean, Lunaris is pretty good too. Let's take Solaris. It seems stronger. I always default to Solaris, I think. Alright, blood aqueduct. Blood. We could farm here for a bit. For contracts and stuff. But like, again, we're over leveled. Why should we bother farming here at all? You know? Like, we're doing a lot of damage to these guys. You just curse and kill. Curse and trigger. Curse and trigger. It kind of feels like my cast speed is a little slow, though. As long as they're in one-shot range, I'm happy, right? If you can actually group them up, that's when you do the most damage. Or at least that's what it feels like. Like you suck them up. Yeah. Well, the pack size got a lot denser, didn't it? Okay. Okay now.
Blessings.
We are in Act 9.
See ya.
And things are going great. Hopefully this will continue into maps and
Yes.
you know, and we're gonna have a fun time in the late game. But thank you guys very much for watching. I'm enjoying myself very much. Not myself. But the game. Personally, I'm enjoying the game very much. Phrasing. And I hope you guys are having a good time watching these videos. If you are, as always, you can leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more updates in the future. Otherwise, keep in touch, guys. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.